If you're watching this video and are curious what it's like being a field engineer, you've come to the right place because I'm going to deep dive into what it's like working as a field service engineer or a field service technician in the IT industry. Field engineers are also sometimes referred to as field service technicians depending on the responsibilities, with the latter being a little bit more handsy and involved in testing and troubleshooting than the former. I have been providing services as a technician working with physical hardware in the field for about a year now. My specific industry is telecom, but field engineering stretches beyond that. As a field engineer, you are typically providing services for a client at the client site. You are not usually contracted by them directly, but rather a federal agency or a corporation that handles the physical and even software infrastructure the end client requires. You can be a 1099 contractor, which is what I actually started off as, or you can be working on a W-2 salaried or hourly. Either way, the job requires different situations on or off the job that are reimbursable by the employer and or tax deductible for the next year. So now let's actually talk about what you do day to day as a field engineer. The nature of the work is very blue collar, but not entirely. You're not going to be breaking your back by the time you get home, but it can be straining because you're at the job site for prolonged periods of time. You will be working in a production environment in the scope of a project most of the time, and there will be work needing completion. Sometimes you'll also just be sent out at random to do a fix on some issue that arose at the site, but it's less common. Much of the job is around using technical skill to troubleshoot issues that arise during the scope of work. Now, to actually get to the site, you'll have to drive, of course, or fly, depending on if you're working in a regional or more national area. The company may provide a vehicle, but unfortunately in my case, I had to use my personal vehicle. Using your vehicle, you get reimbursed for the mileage, which is on most vehicles more than the gas it takes for every recorded trip. And if you think about it, that's actually pretty good money. It's a government mandated amount. Expect to drive a lot. Some days you might drive 10 minutes to get to a site. Other days it could take you more than 3 hours to get to a site. Make sure if you're using your personal vehicle to stay up to date on all the maintenance. Once you get to the site, you could be spending all day troubleshooting and may not get to go home until the work is done, especially if you had a long drive already and it's late. It's just better to stay the night and return in the morning. Or if you had to air travel to get to a site outside your region, you're going to have to stay in a hotel anyways. The company will reimburse for the travel and meals if you stay the night away from home. I remember the longest I've stayed near a site away from home was like 3 nights. I'll have to talk about how fun that was in another video. But anyways, that being said, even the days you're not staying over, you may be back home after dark. Usually I get home by 8 or 9 in the evening. Other days I may not have much work and I get finished much earlier in the afternoon. Of course, there will be days where you may not even have any work at all because the site isn't ready yet. If you do work an hour over the clock, you are paid overtime if you are paid hourly, such as moi. A pretty lucrative job type if you ask me. So in addition to the good pay, there is stability in being a field engineer or a field technician. There will always be demand for people to go in person to get work done, and most of things that are modernizing our lifestyle, such as IoT, renewable energy, advanced medicine, just to name a few, all require field engineers. Basically, we serve as the backbone. I like the job personally. I like long drives. I like working with my hands, and I appreciate the overtime aspect of the work. I'm not in an office setting every day where I have to see people on a daily basis that I probably don't like, or have to deal with office politics, which I also don't like. I still have to deal with upper management all through the phone or occasionally Teams meetings, but it's not every work day. More so, I interact with the network operations team, who are usually more tenured engineers that assist me with testing and troubleshooting issues on the site. So now let's talk the qualifications. I got into this role with a bachelor's degree in management information systems. I had 1 year experience prior to this in help desk and technical support. A buddy of mine who was in capstone project in my final semester in college saw that I needed a job and gave me a really good word into this company where he was working at in a different department already. They offered me paid training to get to the skills. I'm constantly learning new things on the job, even though I have the technician skills which I learned in my second week of training. I'm also trying to stay up to date on changes in the industry and theoretical knowledge. Working on a new certification relevant to field, or using ChatGPT to help clarify concepts will help keep you relevant and assist you on the job. It's a great career opportunity for a fresh graduate. You can move into a more office roles if you prefer. You can be a high-paid field engineer if you choose to like working practically. Now, with that all being said, who is this job not ideal for? If you're looking for work-life balance or you like sticking to the same routine, this may not be the gig for you because the work hours are unpredictable. If you have personal commitments, it'll be tough because your friends and family may not like that you come home late some days or stay away from home. Of course, it's not like being a long-distance truck driver, but traveling for work is definitely a requirement nonetheless, so there's no chance to do this job remotely. If this video helped provide resolution to your search query or just helped fill your algorithm, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more of my career journey every so often, so stay tuned.